and our family lost everything. I know what it means to feel profound loss, and 1 year later, time has not healed my broken heart.
That was Kevin Spiegel speaking about the loss of his wife, Judy, 1 year ago today. Kevin and several other family members spoke of their loved ones and all they lost when Champlain Towers South collapsed. It was an emotional day, starting very early this morning here in Surfside, and we heard from some of the families, Elliot, some we haven't heard from since the very early days following the collapse.
Yeah, many of them say the pain has not been easy to deal with a year later. Now, during the ceremony, first responders read the names of all 98 victims, the people they searched around the clock, hoping to find.
Elliot, and I truly found that to be one of the most profound and poignant moments, hearing those first responders say the names of the people they were searching for in those days. It's been a tough year, not just for those who lost loved ones and those who lost all their belongings, but really for this entire community. And CBS4's Jim DeFede has been really in constant contact with the families, with those people who were impacted, and as well as with the first responders. We'll get to that in just a minute. Jim, you were actually at the ceremony today. Just reflect on that, and how did it feel to be there?
It was a very emotional experience. You know, obviously, sometimes when you have these remembrances, there are a lot of politicians who speak. And you want to hear from the First Lady, you want to hear from the governor. I'm not sure we need to hear from every politician who spoke. But for me, the power was when we heard from those family members. Just listening to their pain, expressing it, giving an opportunity. Look, it's important to remember this day. It's important that those officials were here because it gives a solemnity to it. It lets people know how important it was, but it's their voices. And I'll tell you, in talking to them today, I also think that it was the event at 1:22 a.m. that was most moving for them. That's the real experience they took away.
Yeah, I heard that was very touching. They lit flames, one to represent each of the 98. You mentioned hearing from some of those family members. You have spoken to them at length for your specials that have aired on CBS4 as well as CBS News Miami. One, as a mother, that really spoke to me was obviously Raquel Oliveira. I know you've been in contact with her a bit following your initial interview. Were you able to speak with her today, and what did she say?
I did. I spoke to pretty much everyone who was in that we had interviewed. I saw them today, and it was, I think they want more than anything is just to make sure that their feelings are respected. And that's what we tried to do in letting them tell their stories in a more comprehensive way. And so, look, this is very difficult for her. She has not turned on a TV for a year, and just recently just started sort of tuning back in. And when she spoke today, I thought it was incredibly powerful when she talked about the idea of trying to be present, trying not to let those moments, that live only in regret, but look forward to and embrace those that you love. Others spoke about that too, the idea that we shouldn't just wait to be kind to one another in a tragedy, that we should be kind to each other in times that aren't tragic. And I thought that was really important.
We heard a lot about, over the last year, the bravery and the sacrifice of the first responders. So much was said about them today, about how hard they worked diligently around the clock, putting their own lives at stake. But how are they doing a year later? This was a traumatizing event for them as well.
It was, and what's interesting to me is I talked to a number of them, including Ray Jadala, who was leading a lot of the effort here. He said this is the first time he's been back to the site since they packed up and left, in July, so almost 11 months. He deliberately says that whenever he's got any business in the area, he avoids Collins Avenue. He takes a different route so he doesn't have to drive by it. I think every firefighter who worked that pile, every first responder, is in some way, and I'm going to use this word in the same way I've used it with families, and I don't mean it in a derisive way, but a little bit broken. It's something that is always going to be with them. It's a scar that will never fully heal. It's something that they just have to learn to live with. There is no getting over this. That was something else that was said today. Time does not heal everything. Time can maybe able to give you perspective, but those scars will always remain.
Especially when there are still so many questions with the investigation ongoing. But I think some of the bonds that were made here will also remain. To me, one of the most powerful moments that I heard was when State Senator Jason Pizzo came out and spoke, and he spoke about the loss of 98 people last year, but also the loss of his own father. And then he says that one of the fathers who lost a son in Surfside contacted him and said, "You were here for me, so now I'm going to be here for you." These people are bonded together for life.
It is a family. Casey Stratton's sister stood up and she said, "We are 98." In other words, like she actually raised her hand in the air and said, "We are 98." They may not have known each other before. They may have come from different walks of life, different experiences, but they are truly bonded by this tragedy, and as a result, they are family. And like in any family, some become distant cousins, but others become incredibly close, and they stay together, and they'll be in touch with one another for the rest of their lives, I believe.
What's next? Obviously, the investigation's still ongoing. Some people are saying we're not really going to talk too much about it until we know for sure, but it could be years, right? So
it could be another 2 years before we know. I think with regard to the investigation, we know the basics. We know that it was a cascading series of events, whether it's saltwater intrusion, building design, the lack of maintenance, the construction of the large building off to my left shoulder, and what that contributed to breaking up the foundation. I think we know the general areas. We just don't know which one of those played the more significant role. That's what investigators will try to find out. But really, in a way, maybe any one or two or three of those factors would not have brought this building down. But when they all came together with time, it's the whole that we now have.
Jim DeFede, thank you so much for your insight, not just today, but in this entire year. You've done so much extensive reporting, first with Bonded by Tragedy, 30 days after Surfside, 30 days in Surfside rather, as well as the series of reports surviving Surfside that you just had over the course of the last 2 days. Truly impactful, powerful journalism. If you have not been able to see them, I truly urge you to do so. You could do that at our website, CBSMiami.com. And as Jim mentioned earlier today, there was that powerful ceremony just for those family members, for loved ones. They gathered for a moment of silence at 1:22 this morning, the exact moment that the building came down. And Jim, you mentioned Cassie Stratton. We also spoke with Cassie Stratton's mother. She described the last moments of her daughter's life on the phone with her husband.
And she thought it was going to be an earthquake. And then as the pool started sinking and everything started sinking, when she was on the phone with him, all of a sudden she screamed and the phone went dead. And I guess that's when the building came down.
And that was a private vigil. You can see some of those torches lit up, one flame for each of the 98 lives lost. But there will be a public beachside vigil later on this evening, beginning at 7 o'clock from 7 to 8:30 on the beach right here behind where the Champlain Tower South once stood. But coming up later at 5:30, my conversation with Miami-Dade Mayor Daniela Levine Cava. She was a constant presence on TV and here at the site in the hours and days and weeks following this incredible tragedy. She truly became the face of the county response here in Miami-Dade County. Now that 365 days have passed, she looks back on that very first day, those very first few hours, and she also talks about what an incredibly difficult year this has been. You can hear our conversation coming up later on at 5:30. Elliot, back to you.
Yeah, I know there were times, Lauren, when the mayor was very emotional as she was releasing the news, and we were waiting to hear, was there a chance that somebody survived, that more people survived? And it was on her to release those updates from the search and rescue crews. So we're looking forward to that report. Thank you, Lauren.
And she really does talk about the stress and the pressure she felt when she had to give those updates.
Okay, Lauren, thank you very much. Lauren Pastrana is out there along with Jim DeFede and Ted Scout in Surfside. Lots of emotions, and today at HCA Florida Aventura Hospital, moment of silence to honor those who worked at the hospital and died in the collapse. Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Brad Cohen, physician assistant Nicole Doran Manashirov, and volunteer Michael Altman.